Okay, now we're ready for number 11, which is going into what I call step 2. Step 1 is the recognition that I'm indestructible. The real me is indestructible. I'm a Tzelem Elokim, my neshama, my seichel, my leiv. You can't destroy that. And because the Tzelem Elokim is powering my mind, my ability to think, I'm always only one thought away from liberating myself from thinking that the world is crushing me, these people hurting me, the weather's ruined my event, whatever it is that I'm blaming, complaining, fetching. Hashem has built me in a way that we're only ever one thought away. And once we recognize that, we're really ready for what I'm going to call step number 2, is in that shift, that's when we are much more able to respond healthily in a way that's really going to support us to the bullying, to intimidation or adversity, whatever it is that we're going through. We're focusing on the bullying. We're going to be so much more resourceful in how we respond. It might be with laughter. It might be with amusement, as we've mentioned before. Hey, cool, that's what you think, but that's only what your mind is generating for yourself. That's not what I'm thinking, and I don't agree. Your reality is your reality. It's not my reality. It never will be. My reality is my reality. And the bully, you don't have to say all those words. The bully may not understand what you're saying, but he'll be able to tell from your tone of voice and your body language that whatever he has said or is saying means this much to you in terms of it just bounced right off. It fell off like water. It won't absorb. It doesn't go in. The skittle, the pin won't fall. The essential value of the dollar is exactly the same. So nothing's changed inside of me. My intrinsic value is still the same. When the bully sees that, it doesn't even matter what words you say. He'll see on your face, he'll hear in your voice, your tone of voice, your facial expression, and your body language, cool, that's what you think. It's not what I think. Or you could use even humor. Oh, yeah, you're right. Actually, you don't realize how right you really are. I'll tell you why, because my therapist told me that he spoke to Makubal, because I have so many issues, that the Makubal said that no one in world history has come down into this world as many Gilgulim as I have, because I've just messed up so much. So you have no idea. When you say I'm a loser, you had no idea how true it is. And when you don't take seriously the bully's bowl, instead it hits the skittle, it hits the pin, and it stops right there. Then imagine the pin giving the bowl a kick, and it goes flying back at the bully. So, what is the bully supposed to do if a bullet not only doesn't penetrate the bulletproof vest, but bounces back at him? So this is not a worthwhile target to fire bullets at, to bully, because it's bully-proof. You're bully-proof through humor, or just saying, you call me a loser, you have no idea how true that is, and then you go into this whole thing about you've been down here hundreds of times as a Gilgal because you messed up every time. It's such a big loser. And essentially, I'm surprised you didn't read about it, because it's been on the front cover of the Times, Sunday Times and Time magazine. They're all speaking about it, so I'm surprised you never heard about it. So just using humor, it helps him see, what? He's weird. And he's not going to bother with you because you're not falling down. He's not maintaining imbalance of power. You seem to have more power than him because you're not bothered by him. You're not intimidated by him. He doesn't want that. He's going to go elsewhere. Another possibility is that you might even, this is really like extreme, but you might even experience gratitude, where you could actually even say, oh, by the way, you just reminded me, I bought this for you. And you give the bully, I don't know, a box of chocolates and say, what? What? He says, no, I forgot to tell you. Every time that you start out with me, I get this experience of my inner metal proving to myself that I know who I am. So I realize, I owe you gratitude for me recognizing how strong I am, so I bought you a box of chocolates. Now, you may not want to do this in school because he'll be too embarrassed and make a whole big scene out of it, but go to his house and give it to him. If you want, have your parents in the car so that he sees your parents are with you, let them stand outside the car while you ring on the bell, and when you show the bully that not only does the bullet not enter, because you've got a bulletproof vest, you've got inner resilience, and you use humor, or you say you're grateful, and you give him a present. Oh my gosh. You know what that does to the bully? He says, this is crazy. That pin just won't fall. You know, as much as I crumple and spit and scream at that $10 note, it still thinks it's worth $10. I know, I'll go somewhere else. It's not worth it to him because he's not getting the satisfaction of feeling cool that he's more powerful. And that completely dissipates the entire formula of I'm here to oppress you and demonstrate you're weaker, I'm stronger. You're less than, I'm more than. And when you reverse that, because you're the real Gibor, internal strength, there's no formula. There's no bullying. There's no power struggle. You're more powerful than me, I'll go elsewhere. Or he'll start letting go. Maybe even look at himself. Let's go to number 12, where we're going to talk about the split personality of the bully. You'll see what I mean by that. It's just a title. The split personality of the target and the split personality of the bystander. What do I mean by that? Is that we're going to look at the profile that's typically defined both by the American government and, if you want to call it, the world of bullying. In the research that's done, there's a profile of the typical characteristics of a bully, the target and the bystander. But with our understanding that that's just really a misunderstanding of reality. There are no bullies, there are thoughts that come out of bullying, and it's manifest in whatever way it is, even if it's physical manifestation, verbal manifestation, but even that is still being generated by someone who thinks that they are powerful and cool and better than, or they're taking revenge against those who they hate or feel have hurt them. We're going to look at this in detail in a few moments. And there's a misunderstanding on the part of the target who thinks that he's a target and a victim and starts believing he's victimized and goes through the whole syndrome of everything that's part of the profile of a victim. And we're going to look at that. But then there's another side to all this, that if it really is me who's in control of me, and the real me is my thought, the real me is what I think. The real me is being generated by HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give me the power to think so I can experience this world. I experience life through thought. There's no other way you think about it. You can't experience anything except through thought. That's period. There's no negotiation on it. It may take time for it to penetrate and hit, but it's a simple reality. Once that hits us and it's an experience, then we can look at the other side of the bully and the other side of the target and the other side of the bystander. I'm calling it split personality, not because they've got two personalities, but in one thought away, 1 second away, they are able to redefine who they really are. And we're going to look at those definitions. So a child who can genuinely laugh off the bullying or walk away and feel good about himself, and even good because he realizes the bullet didn't penetrate, it bounced off, or just went as far as the vest but didn't go inside, doesn't change anything about him inside. He'll walk away happy that he stood up for himself, walked away without feeling down or knocked down. Such a target is much less likely to be targeted again, period. It may take 1 or 2 or 3 instances till the bully sees, it just doesn't work with this guy, and he's on to his next alley, throwing balls, insults, bullying someone else, some other skittle, some other pin. But then, if I cry, or I show body language, looking in the corner of my eyes to see who else is noticing that I'm being bullied, or I start whining, leave me alone, hate you, or I'm telling my parents about you. And anything that shows that he's controlling my emotions is giving power to the bully, and ironically, in my almost begging, leave me alone. Like, I beg you, leave me alone. You see how brittle I am, how weak I am, and I'm broken. Do that to me. When you say that, oh my God. I'm giving power to the bully who sees, oh my gosh, this really works. And then I'm actually empowering him, almost, this is crazy to say, I'm almost giving him more ammunition, so he's got more bullets to fire at me. So the whining doesn't work, the crying doesn't work, all that body language is going to backfire on me. It's going to, more than backfire, I'm giving him more ammunition to send more bullets. He's going to laugh at me, put me down more encouraged to hurt me more. So let's understand in the real equation what happens when the bully bullies, when the target it falls and the bystanders do nothing. So I'm just going to touch on this very briefly. The Gemara in Erechin, Daf Tes Zayin, I believe it is, tells us that there are three people who are harmed by Lashon Hara. The Mesaper, the person who speaks Lashon Hara, the Mekabel, the person listening who accepts it, and then of course the person that they're speaking about. It's a phenomenal parallel because we're talking about Lashon Hara is a form of bullying. There's no way of, there's no getting away from that. By spreading rumors or saying not nice things that are even true, which is none of my business, it's none of my business to share mistakes you've made with other people, period. It's not my business. And by doing so, if I cause them to believe me, so you are Makabel Lashon Hara, I've said Lashon Hara, even if it's true, that's what Lashon Hara is, and I'm hurting the person with my mouth, the person of whom I'm talking about, who's not even there necessarily. And the bully, the bystander, the target are in the same exact positions. I'm bullying with my mouth, you're the target, and if Has v'Shalom, you're Mekabel, and the bystanders who are listening, everyone's getting harmed. Let's look at the typical profile that's provided from research on bullying. I'm borrowing again from Dr. Haber's book, Bully Proof Your Child Forever. And he has a lot of very interesting research statistics and government surveys that we're going to quote to understand the profile of the bully, but with our Torah understanding of what a roidef really is and what the nirdaf is and how I can turn this around over here, we're going to look at the other side of the bully, the other side of the target, victim, and the other side of the bystander. And I think it'll be very revealing. So number one, I'm going to share the bad news about who the bully is, and then the good news. The bad news is he is slowly destroying his ability to have compassion, sensitivity, empathize. And when a bully loses ability to have a conscience because he doesn't experience empathy for another person's pain that he is directly inflicting, on the contrary, he gets power and almost satisfaction from that power by hurting others. That is the worst part of the profile of the bully. Because once he doesn't have a conscience and doesn't have empathy, he's able, there's no limit to what he can do, because there's zero conscience. And that's scary, that's frightening. This part of the presentation is not to frighten, it's just a reality check on the observation of what bullies are profiled as, and we're going to see what the other side of it is. Someone who doesn't experience remorse, that's terrible, because then the chances of teshuvah are harder. He's insulated by the fact that he has no conscience. Without teshuvah, the bully literally can lose his alam haba. That's the din of a rasha who, if he's used a malbim pnei chaver barabim, either insults or causes humiliation in public, there's no consequence that is severe enough. Malchus is way too kind, that's lashes. Mises Bastin, the death penalty, is way too kind. Instead, Chazal tell us that the bully who uses his mouth to embarrass someone in public, he's lost his eternity. If he uses a nickname, and it's a derogatory nickname, Chazal tell us, he's lost his eternity. So this is really serious stuff. Rashi tells us on the words Rasha Lama Take Re'echa, when Moshe Rabbeinu said to Dasan Aviram, Rasha, why are you hitting your brother? And Rashi learns from there, he quotes Gemara in Sanhedrin, that before he even hit him, he's already called a Rasha. And that's before he hit him. Just by lifting his hand, Haramas Yad, he's already called a Rasha. So A wicked person, oh my gosh, the person is called wicked for lifting his hand. How much more so for saying words which are way more powerful and destructive than the hand or the sword in the hand. As Shlomo Melech says, "Hachayim v'hamavis biyad halashon." The mouth has the power to destroy or maintain life. Yeah, it's serious. So the bully is going in a very bad down spiraling direction where he allows himself to fall into no conscience, no empathy, no compassion, no sensitivity. The good news is, this is the flip side, the other side of the personality of the bully, is nobody is born a bully. And to really level the playing field, we have all been a bully at some time in our life. Whether it's with our siblings, younger or weaker, whether it's been with friends that we've put down, whether it's been with our own spouse, Rahman al-Islam, that we've bullied, maintaining an imbalance of power, or with our own biological child that for some crazy reason, there's nothing really wrong, is a good kid. And I would put that child down frequently, even in front of the rest of my family, Rahman al-Islam. So, we talk of bully like some terrible person out there. Well, in the trajectory that he's going in, the direction he's going in, he could, Has v'Shalom, become a Rasha and not lose that label. And if he doesn't do tshuva before he dies, he's in big trouble. Ein lo chelek le'olam haba. It's a din of a roidef. You can kill the roidef to save the life of the nirdav. You kill him on the spot. Who are you? And the answer is, you're a bystander who sees the roidef chasing a nirdav. You see someone chasing with intent to harm another person, and you are permitted to take his life. So obviously the Torah is taking this super seriously. So yeah, he's going in a really bad direction if he doesn't do teshuvah. However, here's the upside. Here's the flip side of who the bully really is. Nobody's born a bully. Starting point. Number two, there's almost nobody who hasn't been a bully in their lifetime, in their marriage, with their own biological kids, in the classroom with their students. I'm not accusing us all or Has v'Shalom being mekatrik. I'm trying to level the playing field. But when we realize, hey, bullying is maintaining this imbalance of power, there are lots of people who are sensitive and who felt very intimidated by the way I've spoken or done something or said something or behaved towards them. And they would actually say, I felt bullied by this person. So let's recognize that, number one. Number two, every single person lives moment to moment. And who I was yesterday, an hour ago, a minute ago, seconds ago, does that dictate who I am now or will be a moment from now? And the answer is no. We know that for a fact. Because a Rosh Gomor can do teshuvah, and how long does it take? 1 second. How long is 1 second? One rega, 1 moment. One hirur of teshuvah is a split second, goes from Rosh Gomor to Tzaddik Gomor. That's a simple reality. We talked about this in the halacha of someone being Mekadeshes, an Isha, Al Menashani Tzaddik Gomor, and you know for sure he was a Rosh Gomor a few seconds ago, till now. And you got Adam to the fact. But nevertheless, Mekudeshes, because Shema Hira Teshuvah Belibai. Maybe he had a thought of Teshuvah in his mind. Everyone is 1 moment away from a different thought. And that different thought could be Teshuvah. And that goes for the bully as well as anybody else. A bully is not a bully every single moment. And they can do Teshuvah. It's never too late. Many of us have experienced being a bully in the workplace, where we've really been tough on employees or co-workers, and sometimes even customers. We've bullied customers into buying something because we picked up on their weakness and took advantage of that. That's a form of oppression, and no one likes that. So let's even out the playing field and recognize, hey, it's not that difficult to be a bully. It's not that difficult. I don't become a rusher straight away because of it, but let's watch out before we start labeling the bully as hey, he's a bully. No, he was a bully in what he did, but that doesn't equal him now or tomorrow or a minute from now or a second from now. And that's the upside. The bully can always change the moment he recognizes where change really takes place. We are always, all of us, one thought away from being a different me. Every single one of us, all the time. We never exist in any other moment than the now, and I can change the now in the next thought, in the next moment. And if I don't, I can change it in the next thought, or the next thought. It's never too late, as long as we're alive. And every single moment we're alive, that's the biggest compliment that Hashem has paid to us, that He hasn't given up on us. And the biggest raya, the biggest proof is that we woke up this morning and said, Moedani, out of gratitude, not just for the neshama you've returned to me, but the message you're sending by returning my neshama, you are clearly declaring, Rieti, you still can do teshuvah. I'm giving you another day. Let's see what you do with your mind today. Let's see what you do with your thoughts today. Let's see how you control your mind from not going to where it did yesterday. Not thinking or seeing or saying what you did or said yesterday or looked at yesterday. It's all in the now. We all experience the same experience of creating our world in every thought that we live in. Let's go on to when the bully catches his non-reality thinking, when he says to himself, I'm better than you, you're less than me, I'm stronger than you, you're weaker than me, and he chaps, that's not reality. He can change. He can switch to a different person, and in the next thought, he's no longer the bully. If he apologizes, hey, he's doing teshuvah at a higher level, even before Yom Kippur. So let's get those two sides of the bully, the negative, the bad news, and then the good news. Now let's look at the bad news about the target. The bad news, the way you will see the target is profiled, and it really is scary. Until we get to the good news. But let's look at the bad news first. The bad news is that the target, typically a victim of bullying, will typically develop social anxiety as an adult. If they're bullied a lot in their youth, the isolation they experience socially can easily spill over into adulthood, and they become less able to interact with other people. It's harder to hold friendships and long-term relationships. They may even be a little bit of a bully themselves with someone they like in order to test, will this person still like me if I bully them? So as mad as it is, they're capable of doing that. And it's a spillover from their insecurity of having been bullied themselves. Now they want to see, but I love you so much, but how do I know you'll still love me? If the only way I can really know is if I hurt you. And then if you still love me after I hurt you, then I know you love me. But the insecurity could be so deep that what they do after they've hurt the person is do it again and again. Well, maybe you. How do I know you still love me if I'm even worse than that? As crazy as that cycle is, that's one of the spillovers in the profiling of a target, that they're capable of not being able to hold long-term relationships because they keep hurting other people, where subconsciously they're just doing that to test whether you'll still like me if I hurt you. Crazy, but possibly real. We're going to see the flip side of this, which will turn it all around. But let's look at what the experts on bullying are telling us about the profile of someone who's been a target and he goes unchecked. He's not helped in his youth. What are the spillovers? Number 2, have few friends. 3, shy away from social activities or clubs for the sake of self-preservation. They prefer not to interact with people to avoid getting hurt by people because they've been so badly hurt that they make this association that being around people equals pain. So I'd rather not socialize or be part of my community or the club or whatever it is. And eventually they start becoming more and more recluse. Number 4, experience depression. 5, dislike their peers. 6, they decline academically. They start doing poorly in their performance in exams and grades. not taking homework seriously, they start giving up on life. Number 7, have self-induced symptoms such as headaches, difficulty sleeping, bedwetting, stomach aches to avoid going to school. Because school equals, that's where I get bullied. We're going to talk about how to get this out of the kids so that the parents are in the know and have a rapport with the children, and it doesn't become something they never find out about till it's too late or years down the line when lots of damage has been done. Number 8, in extreme cases, the victim thinks about suicide. In a 3-year study done in the UK, United Kingdom, from by a charity called Kidscape, one big word, revealed that adults who were bullied as children are 7 times more likely to commit suicide and were more likely to play the role of victim in adulthood, in the workplace and in marriage. 7 times more likely to commit suicide and to play out the victim. They'll continue being a victim because that's their mentality in their marriage and it's almost like they're wearing a badge. I'm a victim of bullying. So now that you know that, guess what? I could be your target too. And it becomes their self-identity. I'm a victim. Number 9, sadly, targets can also lose their empathy. And over time, they become bullies, either in their adult lives or with their spouses, because they learned that this is the way to get power. As shallow as it is, that's what it looks like. The bully has more power than the target. Hey, I wish I could have more power than him. And then as I grow up into my adulthood, and now I've got a wife and kids or a husband and children, I will now become the one who's got power by intimidating, bullying you. Number 10, targets are more likely to become bullies to exert power. And this is quite shocking. The US Secret Service published a survey showing that out of the 37 most recent school shootings, 67% of the gunmen or gun boys were victims of bullying in that school. I'll repeat myself. According to the US Secret Service, in providing a survey in, I think it was 2010, was it 2012? You'll find it in Dr. Haber's book, Bullyproof Your Child Forever. The claim is that 67% of the gunmen who would shoot apparently indiscriminately at teachers and at students were actually the victims of bullying. And that's very, very interesting because in a much more recent survey provided by the US government website, which you can check out yourself at stopbullying.gov, yep, that's the name of the website, reveals that 12 out of 15 school shootings, the shooter had a history of being bullied. 12 out of 15, you do the math, 12 out of 15, percentage-wise, is 80%. So it's gone from 67 to 80%. This is extremely telling. Do you understand what we're talking about? Why are the targets so angry that they could go to such an extreme of taking the lives of other people and seemingly indiscriminately by shooting anyone within their range? And the sad answer is, it's not indiscriminate. You see, they're angry with the 85% bystanders. Do you remember we talked about this? Oh my gosh. OMG. The 85% silent bystanders who did not jump in and stop the bullying, now the target, the victim, is so angry he wants back at everybody. So in a certain sense, it's actually not indiscriminate, because there's a good chance that almost everybody that he shoots is going to be a member of that 85% or a very large percentage. So understand, this is what can happen to someone who's bullied. We're talking about suicide and we're talking now about homicide. That's crazy. There's the worst. Number 11, targets are more likely to turn to substance abuse, alcohol and drugs. Number 12, targets have more trouble regulating their emotions. 13, more likely to become obese. 14, this is the last one, Baruch Hashem, more likely to pick on a younger sibling to relieve their own feelings of powerlessness when they come home after being bullied in school. Because they're learning that, hey, if the bully gets away with it, he's powerful, I'm not. I want to be powerful, I don't want to be weak. And so I'll be powerful with the weakling. Oh, my younger kids, siblings, brothers, sisters. And now a family is being hurt by someone else's bullying. That's the bad news. Let's look at the good news. And there is good news. There is good news. The good news is that targets, victims of bullying, often will display more sensitivity, caring. They're more caring individuals. They're more creative, original, often out-of-the-box thinkers. They're more empathic, which doesn't take a brilliant rocket scientist to figure out. If they know what it means to feel the underdog and be hurt, they can become more sensitive to avoid doing that to others. And when they see others who are experiencing pain, it pains them because they've been there and know what it feels like. And it's very painful. They're more resilient. It's possible that the same target who could express the other characteristics in the bad news list can also become extremely resilient. More self-reliant, stronger character, more likely to teach tolerance to their children. Targets are more likely to be successful in relationships because of their sensitivity, more likely to be leaders in their field because they care about others, more likely to be team players because they are inclusive, and more likely to collaborate with others when it comes to solving problems. And this creates a steerer. There's a confusion here. Which of the two lists is more accurate? And the simple, elegant answer is, it's up to you. Whoever Mrs. Victim target is, who they become, who they choose to be in response to what they've been through, is purely their own choice. So you're always going to get two very different directions. You see, the most successful stories in life are not necessarily about winners. The most successful stories in life are not the winners who win. It's the losers who fell, started again, and became exceptionally successful. Oh, so it's because you've been through what you've been through doesn't mean you can't be way beyond. Just because you've been downtrodden doesn't mean you can't get beyond that and get a Nobel Prize in resilience. The most noble prize that you could ever probably deserve is internal strength. That means that whatever hits you, you will bounce back, even if you're knocked down. So it doesn't mean that just because I'm down, I'm out. It just means I'm down, but I'll get up. You know why? Because I'm indestructible. You can't kill me. You can kill my body. You can't kill me. The real me is a neshama, Tselem Elokim. That lasts forever. So you can't really harm me. And therefore, when I'm down, it's my body. And it could be my mind too. But knowing I've got that internal resilience means I can pick myself up again. I can bounce back. I might not be able to do it right now, but I will. As and when I'm ready, and I have the inner strength to do so. The winners in life are not the people who just win. The most powerful winners in any area of life are the ones who failed in their marriage, failed with their kids, bounced back, started again, built up that relationship, started again with the same marriage or went on to the second one and took with them the lessons from the first one. The most resilient, strong people in life are not the ones who never fell. They are actually the ones who fell possibly the most times, but got up the most times. I've quoted many times Harvard Business Report. This is going back about 20 years already. The Harvard Business Report on profiling multimillionaires. They should do it for multi-billionaires now. But the profiling of multi-millionaires to understand what are the key ingredients that make someone able to become a multi-millionaire. So at the top of the list was mind-blowing. Multi-millionaires became multi-millionaires because they failed the most times in business. Do you understand what that says? They failed the most times in business means they picked themselves up the most times. and the last one more time really makes a difference. Oh, so it's not about getting knocked down, it's about getting up. It's not about weakness, it's about resilience. That's the power of making the choice between where will I go with me being a target? Will I go in this direction down, where I become a bully, where I become depressed, filled with anxiety, socially isolated, and I self-isolate myself because I'm afraid of social interaction, and I keep testing my spouse or those who are close to me, and I keep pushing them all away with my testing to see if they'll still love me after I've bullied them, to see if they'll still love me. What type of logic is that? Well, it's the logic of false, non-reality thinking. But the moment I discover, one second, I got a choice, and the choice is mine, and the choice takes place over here, and the choice could be in the next thought, it could be in the next moment. That's how fast we can turn ourselves around. According to halacha, Shema Hirah Teshuvah Belibai, this Rosh Gomer that everyone's an aid, everyone's a witness, he's a Rosh Gomer, a completely wicked person, in one thought. Shema Hirah Teshuvah Belibai. He had one thought of Teshuvah in his mind, Mekudeshes. It's a valid marriage. Really? Yeah, because in Hashem's reality, that's reality. And that's in Shulchan Aruch, because Shulchan Aruch reflects reality. The internal self-worth of overcoming an addiction, that's resilience. The internal self-worth of respectfully standing up for oneself to a bully or an abusive boss, hey, what is that worth? It's worth everything, because that's inside out. If people speak to the boss to stop bullying me, that's very nice. But how do I feel about myself? I need other people to protect me, because I'm a victim and I'm weak. Don't you know? You gotta be nice to me, otherwise I'll get hurt. And I'll cry. I'll cry until you feel sorry for me. And give me free handouts and free food and free drinks and free housing and free education, because I'm persecuted, I'm a victim, you gotta save me. And in that mindset, I will continue living that way, expecting, Magia li, I'm a victim, don't you know? Instead of realizing there are no victims. You can have a slave, literally, who in his mind, totally liberated, completely enlightened, in the recognition that they have my body, they don't have my mind. Mandela said that, Viktor Frankl said it when being operated upon. The Nazis had my body, but as long as they didn't have my mind, said in that moment, I realized they didn't have my mind, I experienced the greatest sensation of liberation, true freedom. True freedom, your body's completely in their hands. Yeah, but they couldn't take away my thinking. That's where I'm truly liberated. That's true power. It's inside, it's never outside. That's just a pure misunderstanding of reality. So, the self-worth of overcoming addiction, self-worth of standing up to a difficult situation, the self-worth of walking away from a bully with a smile that reflects your inner strength, the self-worth of these type of examples typify the deep self-esteem a child is able to reveal when they live inside out, think inside out, recognize that that's the real reality. Children are able to do that because they're less complicated than us.